I am filled with the righteous indignation of a seller on TCG Player who gets a message that their card was in a bad condition, and so you offer the buyer a partial refund, and they say, no, I want the card in a good condition. So then you just have to give them a full refund, and it's a $16 card. Today we're going to talk about collector booster boxes and their investability, how they're doing, and how you would have done if you had been buying collector booster boxes over the past few years. Hi, my name's Nick. I run a company called Capital Catalyst Cards. We sold six figures in Magic last year. I say we, it's really just me. This is a one-man show. And thanks for being here. You should subscribe. We are over 300 subscribers. Feels so good. We're on our way to 500, which would be incredible. And then someday maybe we'll compete with some of the big boys in this space. In this space, I feel like 1,000 subscribers is a pretty big deal. Once you're at 10,000, you kind of made it. And so anyways, shooting for the stars. We'll see. Anyways, back to it. Let me share my screen. We'll just dive in. It's a Wednesday night to Thursday morning when I'm publishing this. And so let's just get down to business. That's what you do right around hump day. So what we got here, this is my tab for 2025. We have the name of the box. I'm doing main sets. And by main sets, I mean it's the, primary sets that came out for the year. The bot price is a little arbitrary. This is either a TCG low price from around the time that the set came out, or in some instances, it is the price I was able to buy it at. Do I own all these? No, I do not. This is like a hindsight analysis, and is, in my opinion, very interesting, considering there's this thesis in the community that's just like, Magic products, sealed stuff, prices go up. And that in general, sometimes true, not always true. So then there's a thesis around, well, if the product doesn't get reprinted, it is much more likely to go up. And that's what this is testing in part, are collector booster boxes, which do not get reprinted. And so the question is, does the price always go up? So there's the bought price, then there's the sold price. And the sold price can come from current TCG player prices or recent sold listings on eBay. The sold net is this sold price times 0.83, which accounts for about all of TCG player fees, as well as a little bit for shipping. And then the gains are what you net from what you bought it and what you net, or your sold net. So if you buy a Innistrad Remastered box for $240, you're able to sell it for $340. Well, you're only going to make from that $340 $282, and then your gains are the difference between that $282 and the $240. So you gained $42, and that percentage gain in 1 year. So early 2025, you bought this box. It is now a year later, 2026, and you sold and you made $42 for something you spent $240 on. That is almost 18% gain in 1 year. So it's not accounting for your labor. It's also, we're the 83% is pretty generous for accounting for shipping costs, I think. And so it's not accounting for your labor, and it's not accounting for kind of the velocity, the ability, liquidity of these items, right? Because if you had Infinite Innistrad Remastered, what are they even selling at? How many are selling a day? Yeah, like less than average daily sold is 2. So you're certainly not able to just kind of pump these and sell them into the market. So, but if you have just one, you could sell just one. And if you had just one and you sold just one and you bought it for $240 and you sold at market today, you would gain 17% in 1 year, which is, by the way, very good. Let's take a step back for a second. In case you don't know, the kind of guaranteed return is worldwide is kind of set or understood to be set by the U.S. bond market, where the U.S. government sells its debt to investors for around 4%. If you want to guarantee returns on investment, you can guarantee capital G around 4%. Anything above that, there's going to be risk involved. And in general, the higher the return on investment, the higher the risk. And so when people say, hey, I'm going to guarantee you 7% inside of index funds, where you can invest in the market generally and get a return on your money by investing in kind of every company in the market at the same time, and that will return you on average 7%. There is some risk there, but it's pretty, I guess the risk is year to year, right? Because sometimes the stock market altogether will go up 10, 15, 20%. And sometimes the entire stock market will be flat, it'll be 0%. And you would have been better off investing in the safe 4% bonds. But instead you're investing in the what averages to be 7% index funds. You could get good years, you get bad years. There's some variance, there's some risk, you see. Returns higher than 4%, there's going to be some risk. So then you fast forward to something like Magic or Pokemon or whatever, and there is risk. There's risk. And so anyways, we got an 18% gains with Innistrad. Very interesting. Very interesting. What else is interesting is this XPath code just isn't working in Google Sheets all the time, which is frustrating. Anyways, so moving down the list here, Aether Drift. You bought Aether Drift for $200 each. You can sell them for $229 now. After shipping and fees, you're losing $10. That is a negative 5% return. So not great. Dragonstorm, bought for $240 around release, sell for $400. You're netting almost $100. That's almost a 40% return. That is good. Final Fantasy, buy for $600. I bought many of these for $600 pre-ordered. Can sell them for $1,100 right now, netting gains of $300, which is a 52% return. Very good. Edge of Eternities could buy for $240 around the time of release, selling now for $500. Double your money. Well, not quite double after shipping and fees, but gain $175 for a 72% return. Incredible, right? The Edge of Eternities had a higher return than Final Fantasy percentage-wise. I would have never guessed that. I thought Edge of Eternities was going to be the dud set of 2025, and then it ended up being probably my favorite. Spider-Man, it's so frustrating this code isn't working right, but I guess I can just look it up. Spider-Man Collector. Spider-Man Collector. $340 for Spider-Man Collector. And then Avatar Collector. Technology's hard, friends and family. Oh, it is $365. $365. And why do I have a bot price here of $448 for Avatar Collector? I'm going to put, so $350 is the MSRP. So I'm just going to put $350 for this, $350 for this. If you're pre-ordering at Timmy prices, that would have been what you would have got. And so scrolling down here, Spider-Man, buy for $350. You can sell them now for $340. After shipping and fees, you lose $70, negative 20%. And then similarly with Avatar, buy for $350, sell for $365, negative $47, lose 13%. So many of you will look at this and be like, why would you ever buy Spider-Man and Avatar at $350 when you could have pre-ordered at better prices? Or, well, Spider-Man you couldn't. If you pre-ordered, you paid more than $350. But if you have the connections, right? If you're a part of Patreon programs, if you're, whatever patron, you can get these boxes at cheaper prices, and that's fine. That's good. But if you're paying $350 for these, this is what you're going to end up with. You'll see in 2026, I'm plugging in what I feel like are some of the best sourced prices that I could find, and we'll see what that looks like. But what is incredible about this is if you bought every single collector booster box from 2020, from 2025, you would have spent $2,220. You'd be able to sell them all for over $3,200 today. You would net, after shipping and fees, $2,700, which would be a net gain of $500, which would be a 22% return on your money in 1 year. That is bonkers. Oh, let me scroll down so you can see this. That is bonkers. that is some good returns for not a lot of work. I mean, you do have to tie up $2,200, which isn't nothing for a year, which isn't nothing either. But that is good returns. And so the question now is this true generally? And is this true over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? What kind of returns do we see from these collector boxes? So let's look at 2024. And of course, this might be a little bit, what does 2023 look like? 2023 is closer to being good. Wilds of Eldraine. Let's fill that one in manually, and then we might call the night. Wilds of Eldraine collector display for a cool $885. Okay. Yeah, nice. Okay, so this is 2023. It has been 3 years since 2023. So there's a similar thing going on though. $240 is a bought price. The sold price is the current TCG market. The sold net is 83% after shipping and fees. The gains is the difference between the sold net and the bought price. And then there's a percent gains divided by B2. I think I want this whole thing divided by, yeah, we need this whole thing divided by the number of years to get the yearly return. And I think I did that in 24. Maybe not. Okay. So to get the yearly return, we need to take this whole number and divide it by how many years it's been, which is 3. Oops. Divide by 3. There we go. There we go. Drag that down. Okay. More reasonable. All right. So what do we got? We got Dominaria Remastered. 12% annual returns, averaging 12% year over year since 23. Phyrexia, new Phyrexia. 57% averaging annual returns. If you bought these boxes for $240, they're selling now for $800. Almost tripled your money after 3 years. March of the Machines, 33% returns. Aftermath, if you bought these for $240, they're at $184 now. And so you would have lost money. And that's a theme throughout each of these years. Some of these just lose money. Lord of the Rings, if you bought these for $400 at release, they're now going for $1,200. 52% year-over-year returns. Is that right? This minus this. If I add one more parenthesis, does it change the math? No. Okay. 52% year-over-year. Incredible. I guess that's right. Yeah, because you're gaining, you turned $400 into $600. Yeah, that's 52% over 3 years. Yep, Commander Masters, $200 into $380. 19% return. Wilds of Eldraine, 70% return. Lost Caverns of Ixalan, 60% return, for an average yearly return of 38%. Incredible. Any investment fund, and like I said, it's not as simple as being like, oh, well, it's like, this is so much better than the S&P 500, because there's liquidity issues and there's storage issues and there's shipping and all these other things. But what's the point here? The point is that you could have spent $2,000 3 years ago and you would have over doubled your money in 3 years. Incredible. Just incredible. 2024 isn't behaving, but let's take a look at 2026, because this is a little bit of an insight into what can happen if you're part of a good Patreon program or you're good at sourcing, because honestly, you don't have to be part of a Patreon program. You can go find these boxes in the wild. I don't know if you can find Strixhaven in the wild for $275. Stores are bullish on Strixhaven, man. They're selling these things for like $370 or whatever pre-order. People think this set is going to do really well. I think this set's going to do really well. But anyways, besides the point. Lore and Eclipsed, I was able to get a hold of these for $265 each. These boxes haven't performed incredible, as in they came out at around $400 and they're just kind of slowly going down in price. But look, if I sold today, just quick flip, 17% gains, gain $50, not bad. TMNT, if you bought these things for 300, which I know they're kind of going for 400 and they've been going for 400, but if you had a good pre-order price and you're able to lock these in for 300, selling them today at 400, you'd lock in profits, 13% gains. Strixhaven, I'm expecting Strixhaven to do well. I wonder what the price is. Let's take a look. Strixhaven collector booster display. Yeah, interesting that these are pre-ordering on TCG Player for the same price that they're pre-ordering at some of the specialty kind of sites that I've seen. And so when I say specialty sites, they're not that special. I mean, it's like Stomping Grounds and stuff. Anybody can go buy from them, but it's interesting that $375 is the pre-order price. And we'll see, right? That's the point, is like, we'll see. Will 2026 perform similar to 2025 and 2024 and et cetera? Because that's the spoilers, is even though we weren't able to go through 2024, same thing. Not all the boxes perform great, but as a whole, there's interest to be made. There is a true investment opportunity. This data poll has convinced me pretty well that collector booster boxes are viable, quote unquote, investments. That, like I said, if the liquidity isn't an issue for you, if storage and shipping isn't an issue for you, this seems like a good way to store money into something of value that is different than, stocks and bonds and your 401k and gold or silver, or whatever other alternative investments you might have. That these collector booster boxes have done well. They have done well over 1 year, over 2 years, over 3 years. And I expect that to continue. So just interesting. Hey, if you made it this far, you should really consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and have a beautiful day. We'll see you.